All right, we're here in Homosassa Springs, at the Homosassa Springs Library.
Yeah.
We're here at the library. And this is so significant because we came to, 2 years ago, we came to
Spring Hill Library.
Spring Hill
Oh, wow.
to the library. I'm gonna be doing the same Bible study I did back then in 2022. And then Sherilyn asked me, you know, she said, hey, you did that Bible study, what's happening for this 2025? And I didn't have it written in the book, but I last night I researched it and found some interesting stuff, some interesting points. But I'm going to give you a review of what happened here 2 years ago on this Bible study. We did it at Sukkot, and that's when Yvonne and Hannah asked me to to go. Anyways, you know what? We're doing this live. This is a live broadcast. So when there's bloopers, it's just gonna go. So you guys help me out in the background. Anyways, we had some amazing, I don't know what you call it, but you know, we do a one, and we had this amazing, how do you describe that, Anna?
What, the
What
chili?
was that? Huh?
The chili?
Is it chili? You know, I was eating and I said, you know, this would win a chili cook-off and a vegan
Oh, I got it.
chili thing.
It's butternut. It's butternut black bean chili.
Okay,
Butternut squash black bean chili.
Okay, I'm not gonna say that because it's gonna be a blooper. All right. So anyhow, let's get this started. All right, so we're digging into Hebrew. All right, what do we know? What do we know about the Hebrew language? The Hebrew language has 3 different meanings to each letter. All right, so this letter would mean 3 different things. This letter here, Aleph, would mean 3 different things. So it's the number 1, for instance, it's number 1. It represents God. You know, the next letter is Bet, represents the house. All right. So and we can put all those together. That's cool, right? So in Chinese language, it only has 2 meanings. Well, this meaning here, excuse me. All right, that's a blooper. Number 1, the number. All right. Then it has a picture, and it's a picture of a. It's a picture of a cow or a bull. That's a bull.
Yes.
All right. That's, yeah, looks like a little doggy. All right. And then there's the
Looks like an acorn.
The writing.
the writing, the writing and what the writing means. All right. So this stands for strength and all that stuff. So we're not going to get into that right now. But anyways, there's 3 different meanings now. Chinese only has a pictorial and then the actual letter meaning. Hebrew is the only one that is like this. Yes, sir.
The closest language to the Hebrew is the chemical table. Because if you take water, which is H2O, okay, you freeze it, it's still H2O. And then if you boil it, it turns into steam, but it's still H2O. So the closest chemical table is the closest language to the Hebrew alphabet is the chemical table.
Okay. So I took the Hebrew letter, the card, right? I dipped it in water. You know what I got? I got a Hebrew letter. All right. I froze it, but I get it. A frozen Hebrew letter. You're right. It's a sign. Okay. All right. So, just a little joke. I started this study in 5782. All right. So, get ready. It's coming. Prepare for it. It's coming. All right. So, Rudolph, could you read Revelations 16:15? So I looked this up in the Strong's. I looked this up. I looked at the number up in the Strong's. 5782. What is that? It's a Hebrew word, and the Hebrew word is to be awake. to be awake.
572 in Strong's.
Awake. But we spell it this way, or. The ion, what is that? The nail. What is it?
Dollar.
Bad.
What is it?
Dollar.
Maybe I need a cheat sheet. All right. This one is it's the sixth letter. Vav. Vav. So nail something together, excuse me. Vav.
I already.
That's why I don't like taping them live. My mind goes. All right, so it's a Vav. All right, so this is spelled, and this is a resh. This is a resh. So the number value for this is 70, 6, and 200. And that means the king, or the prince, excuse me, the prince.
Iron is not 17, 16. No, no, go ahead.
It is. I'm looking at it right here.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what that is.
Oh, yes, 17.
Now, this here means to be awake, and it has this letter.
No, don't
That's
add
for
that.
5782. Since 5780 and 81, since 5780, our year was like 22,
Like this.
and this adds up to 22. 5780
It doesn't look like these.
would add up to 20. 5781 adds up to 21. This adds up to 22. Since 5780, our Gregorian calendar numbers and the Hebrew numbers are matching. No other time in history has this happened.
Wow.
Okay, 57, let's write it up there, 5780. That's the first time that the Hebrew letters, let's say it was 2020
Yes.
and 21 and 22. But in 22 is when I started doing this study. So I looked this up in the Strong's. This is what it meant. But it means to be awake. The second one, 5783, is phenomenal because the word is this same word here. But a word means to be exposed. To be exposed. And then 5784. What did 5784 mean? We'll get to that in a minute. To be awake. To awake. All right? So be aware, to expose, and to be awakened. So here we go. If you take the Torah, and you take every verse of the Torah and put a number to it. Write down. Write down, all right? So we're looking at, let's go to 1948. The Hebrew year was 5708. So we go to the Torah and we go all the way to 5708. The scripture is Deuteronomy 30:5. Verse 5.
Would you like me to read Revelation 16, 15?
No, that's Revelation 16. Forget that for a minute. All right, so we took the Torah, and we broke it down into two verses, and then we numbered each one of those verses. 5708 is Deuteronomy 30, chapter 5. And in 1948, something happened, and if you read that verse, Mr.
And Yahweh your Elohim shall bring you to the land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it, and he shall do good to you, and increase you more than your fathers.
All right, so what happened in 1948?
Israel became a nation.
Israel became a nation. And they have similarities with Korea. It was the same time too. Korea was the same time. That's why Korea stands up for Israel like they do, because there's a lot of similarities there. All right, so the next verse is 9. As we go to 1952, and the year is 5712. And we're on verse 9.
And Yahweh your Elohim shall make you have access in all your work of your hand, in the fruit of your body, and the fruit of your livestock, and in the fruit of your ground for good. For Yahweh turns back to rejoice over you for good, as he rejoiced over your fathers.
All right, in 1952, if you did some research on 1952, they brought water back into the desert at that time. This is only a few years later. This is 4 years later. 4 years later, now the Israelites inhabit the land again. 4 years later, it's producing. It's producing because they brought irrigation in and all that stuff, and they're producing a lot. I've watched newsreels and stuff where they have the milk and honey thing is like crazy over there, crazy production. And so we're going to go to Deuteronomy 31, 3 and 4. We're going on 5727 is the year in Hebrew, and we get that, like I said, the Torah list, and we come down. You got it?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yahweh your Elohim himself is passing over before you. He shall destroy these nations from before you, and you possess them. Yahushua himself is passing over before you, as Yahweh has spoken. And Yahweh shall do to them as he did to Sihon and to Og, the sovereigns of the Amorites and their land, and when he destroyed them.
Right, so does anybody know what happened in 1967 in Israel?
67 Day War.
6-Day War.
Yeah.
So that describes the 6-Day War there. All right, the next one is 3123. 3123.
And he commanded Yahushua, son of Nun, and said, Be strong and courageous, for you are to bring the children of Israel unto the land of which I swore to them, and I myself am with you.
Okay, it's the year is 1984, and now more Israelites are coming back to Israel. Year's 1984, and it's 5746. Now, I'm going to go, this study was done here on 22, so we're going to do 22. And 22 is Deuteronomy 32:23. Or 32:23.
I gather evils upon them. I use up my arrows upon them.
Right. All right, so that was, now, we know that we see all these years, but every year there's nothing significant there, right? Because one is 1948, 1952, 1967, 1984. So we don't have to have something happen, but didn't the attack, when did they attack? No, they attacked last year. All right, well, that doesn't matter. All right, so, blooper. Can you say blooper?
Blooper.
All right. So anyways, here's what's significant. 32, 23. The 22 is in the middle. And that was the year it was. That was a significant thing there. Here's something else. Deuteronomy 32 in chapter 1, I don't want you to read it, but from that, the whole chapter of Deuteronomy 32 is what? What is the whole chapter of Deuteronomy? And I'm asking you at home too. You can pause this video, look it up. Okay. What is it? It's the Song of Moses. It's the Song of Moses. And give an ear, O heaven, and I will speak. Hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. And then 32 goes on. All right. So the 5780, 2020. All right. This is a 5. Behold. I'm going to just let my words, okay, because this is a suffering or a
Rest.
No, it's not a rest. It's a Sabbath. That's not Hebrew. All right. So this is Zion. It's a Zion. So there's a hey, a Zion, a pay, and there's a 0. All right. So 5 would be to behold. 7, it could mean a weapon or to suffer, all right? But here's my interpretation of it. Just my interpretation, not the Bible's. All right. Behold, I seen you suffer. Speak not. 0, speak 0. All right? What happened in 2020? We had masks over our face.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 2021, 5781. 5781. Behold, I seen you suffering. Speak. Number 1 is an aleph, it's a silent letter. Don't speak. 5782. 2 is the house. Speak to your house. $57.83. That's the camel or the gimel. The gimel. That's to pride. Don't have any pride. All right. Speak against your pride. All right. Number 4 is the door. Speak to the door. Now this is very significant. Speaking to the door, because we know in Isaiah where he lays the keys of David on the guy's shoulder, and he said, "These are the keys of David, and that's the open doors that no man can shut,
Right.
and shut doors that no man can open." Then that again goes up in Matthew where it says, "What you bind on." That's the same language.
Right.
And then it's in Revelation, it turns back up and it's back into open the door, and these are the keys of David,
Right.
the key to David's house. All right. So what's in David's house when you open the door? A heart. Worship. And we know he did a lot with the spirits and everything with the worship. He had the heart of God because he worshiped God.
Isaiah 22:22.
Yes, that's it. Isaiah 22:22.
Heart or heart initially? H-A-R-T?
All right, so I want to get on to 5782, same word. It's to awaken. 5783, same word. It's to, now do you understand what I did? I looked that number up in the Strongs. That's how I got that. It could have been anything. It could have been shoe, it could have been chair. But this is to awaken. The first word is awaken. The next word was to expose or to bear. All right? Spelled the same way. And you are is the same thing. What in Strong's 5784, it meant chaff. This one here meant chaff. And the chaff that I found in the Bible was when Nebuchadnezzar had his dream and he sees the statue. And now Daniel interprets that dream. And the rock comes and hits the feet of the statue and it breaks into chaff. And that was the only 5784 chaff I found, was that verse.
I was just watching that yesterday.
So yeah, so that's all right, you can talk. Let's say bloopers are allowed on this video, right? Because I'm gonna do a lot. All right, so, and my voice is like this because I taught 4-hour class yesterday. All right, so I want to get to, and the reason, and Rudolph, your wife is back there, and she asked me, Sherilyn asked me if, what happened to the file, to 5785, you know, can you see that from here? All right, so anyways, I did the study and I stopped here because this, and that's why I wrote it right over here, this seemed to be too far in the future. It's like 4 years ago. So this was too far in the future. Wasn't even going to do that. And I stopped on the chaff thing. You know, the rock breaking Nebuchadnezzar's feet there. And that whole situation again comes up to Revelations too. So, and the Song of Moses, we're talking about the Song of Moses. That shows up in Revelations. The Song of Moses.
Revelation 15, I think it's 3 and 4.
I think it is too. I had 7 on my mind, but it might be 15, 15, 1 through 4.
1 through 4, yeah.
1 through 4,
Wow.
15, 1 through 4. So the Song of Moses, it says, I saw a great and marvelous sign in the heaven. 7 angels with the final 7 plagues, which the wrath of God was complete. And I saw like a sea of glass mixed with fire, beside which stood who had conquered the beast and its image, and the number of them that held the harps of God. Well, there's the harp right there. And they were singing, here's what they were singing with them harps. They were singing the Song of Moses, the servant of God, and the Song of the Lamb. They were singing those 2 songs. And hear that we're in that ear. We're in Deuteronomy 32. Right? We're in 32. We're in the Song of Moses. If you do your math right correctly. All right. 5785. 5785. Now this here little dot here is in a different place. It's up here. The little dot that was here is up there. All right. So now, instead of it spelling U-R, it spells O-R, or. It don't look like an O, it looks like something else. Or. It spells or. It spells or. Anybody interested in what the meaning of that is?
Yeah.
All right. You ready? You sitting at the edge of your seats?
Yes, we're ready. Pins and needles.
Skin.
Skin.
It means skin, or hide, or leather. And that's what I had too. Everybody looked at me like, skin? You know, why would that fit in? But I'll tell you why. All right. This is used in the context of a physical covering. Makes a little bit more sense now, doesn't it? It's used in the sense of a physical covering.
Like I looked
So,
at the tabernacle,
so a
what's
seed,
covering?
a seed. All right, when we separate the seed from the chaff, what are we taking away?
The chaff.
That covering. The chaff is the covering. We're taking out that seed and we're exposing it. All right, and then we were aware of what it is. I just thought of that just now. That wasn't part of my study, but I just thought of that just now. You take that seed and it's covered with it, and when you're doing that threshing floor thing, you're getting the chaff to blow away. The chaff is the covering of that seed. We don't eat the covering. All right. Here's where this shows up in the Bible. It shows up in Genesis 3:21. All right. Coats of skin.
Yeah.
What did they use the coats of skin for?
Cover Adam and Eve.
Cover Adam and Eve. Genesis 26, 27:16. They took his mother, Jacob's mother, took skin of goat and put it on his neck and his hands so he could fool his dad so he could get the blessing. In another place it shows up. It shows up a lot. It shows up a lot.
They use the skin to cover the ark. of the
All right.
covenant.
Yeah, 26:14. We got to take them skins. What were they? The skins and cover the tents of the tabernacle. They dyed them red, and they covered the tents of they covered that. It's a covering. All right. Romans 4:1-8. And I want you to read that. Romans 4:1-8. Covered the skin. The skin being a covering.
1-8. Romans 4, starting verse 1. When then shall we say Abraham our father to have found according to the flesh? For if Abraham was declared right by works, he has boasting, but not before Elohim. For what does the scripture say? Abraham believed Elohim, and it was reckoned to him for righteousness, and to him who is working the reward is not reckoned as a favor, but as a debt. And to him who is not working, but believes in him, who is declaring right the wicked, his belief is reckoned for righteousness. 6. Even as David also says of the Barakah, of the man to whom Elohim reckons righteousness without works. Baruch are those whose lawlessness are forgiven and whose sins are covered. Baruch is the man to whom Yahweh shall by no means reckon sin.
Right. So they're covered. The sins are covered.
Right.
Tells you right there. And David, he goes back to David. David was bragging about that. David was bragging about that. And that was a covenant, and we'll get to that in a minute. Genesis 15:7 is I'm the shield. He says I'm the shield, and then what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna hurry through this, and then after, we can talk about this after, when we shut the cameras off, so y'all don't get that part. All right. So anyways, 5780, and we're in now. What verse would be 5785? Have you got your Torah out and have you counted all that?
Well,
5,785 verses. Have you counted them yet? Yeah. Okay, well, let me take you to Deuteronomy 23:26. 23:26. And I'm gonna break it down to you after you read that. 23:26.
Oh,
23:26. Oh,
no,
it should be 32.
yeah.
No, wait a minute.
when you
Oh,
enter
we
your
might
neighbor's-
have, we might have a big blooper there.
Well, no, it actually, in the complete Jewish, there's actually has a 26 next to it, which is actually considered 25 in the regular versions.
I maybe wrote it wrong on my paper. Okay, does it say,
Well, it talks about grain.
to speak or to utter?
When you enter your neighbor's field growing grain.
No,
you
no,
may
it's
pluck your-
32:26. Sorry about that.
32.
Yeah, I got it written down wrong on my paper.
About the end.
32.
Yeah, remember I told you we were.
32:26.
Yeah, I got it
Okay.
written down wrong.
Okay.
Now you are,
I said I should throw them away.
There we go.
I should make the remembrance of them to cease from among men.
all right. So I broke this all down in Hebrew. All right. So it's, the first part there is to speak or to utter. And now who's speaking? God.
Right.
We know that God spoke into existence, right? The earth. So that very powerful speech guy. Very powerful guy standing up there and speaking, right? I mean, yeah. So, and then what he's doing, he's gonna break or scatter, he's gonna break apart or scatter is the next thing. To cease or to rest, all right? And the word there is almost looks like SHABB.
Shabbat.
ATH.
Yeah, Shabbat.
Sabbath. Shabbat.
Shabbat. All right. That is the word he uses there. All right. So he's going to. What does it say in your Bible? It says he's going to speak, and he's gonna scatter, and he's gonna cease.
Cease from among men.
It's gonna cease. It's gonna desist. It's gonna stop. What's gonna stop? The remembrance or memory
Right.
Of the people who didn't trust
of
God.
the immoral mankind.
Shabbat.
All right. So what's gonna happen? So what could happen? What could happen? As far as he's going to blot out the memory of a people that lived in a certain area. Okay. So what's going on right now? President Biden is against it. I shouldn't say that on that film.
Right.
Scratch that.
Well-
There's certain guys against that happening, but they're going to, the Israelis going to go in there and rebuild Gaza, and it's going to become theirs. Won't even be a memory. You know, that's kind of what is going on in that verse. Now, that verse doesn't mean just that. You know, it's got a whole other meaning to it. But that's what it could stand for, something like that, if there was something significant happen. If that happens, then we could say, yeah, that's what that verse was talking about right there. All right. So we'll get you in a minute when we all talk. I got this guy in the back here that's really giving me a hard time. Right. So anyways, did we read Deuteronomy 27 through 28? 27, that's the next verses, 27, 28, that's the next verses.
Deuteronomy
Yeah,
30,
20.
32,
yeah, 32, 28.
27, 28.
Or, yeah, it's 27 and 28, 32.
If I did not fear the enemy's taunt, lest the adversaries misunderstand, lest they say, our hand is high, and Yahweh has not done all this. For they are a nation lost to counsel, and there is no understanding in them.
Okay, so God's saying, hey, I didn't do that. You know, it's because of their own ignorance. They did that. They did that. They did wrong. So their punishment is they're going to be scattered, and there'll be no memory of them. Right? So there's some cross references to that. And I'm just going to give them to you, and then we're going to move on. All right. Leviticus 23, or Leviticus 26 and 33. I'm going to scatter you. Jeremiah 9 and 16. Let's scatter them. Ezekiel, am I going too fast for y'all?
No.
Ezekiel 12 and 15. Scatter them. All right. Now here comes the good ones. Isaiah 11, 12. I'm going to collect them. Collect the scattered. He's going to collect the good people back. And then Matthew 24, 31. They're going to come out a trumpet call. And there's also John 11:52. Now we see today a multitude of people that are coming back to celebrating the feast days, obeying the word of God, eating kosher or eating clean food. Eating clean. I'm not going to say they eat kosher, but we're starting eating clean food. We're recognizing the things of God, the things of the Bible, the things that we've missed out on. We also recognize that, you know, certain entities are trying to do this. I'm not going to say what they are because this might go on YouTube. But certain entities are trying to block that. But the people are pushing through. And I don't know about y'all, but my finding all this stuff out came through a dream. You know, it came through a dream. And that was like, a dream is like God's calling me back.
Mm-hmm.
God's calling us back, and we're all getting together. Now, I'm going to say this on here. The 119 Ministries, they got a thing called the Friendship Finder, right? All right, so this Friendship Finder had let's pick a state. I could draw Michigan real good. Right? Or no, let's do that. Don't do Michigan. It don't look good. All right, let's stay where we're at. All right, let's do Florida. Okay, so we're in Florida, right? Sarah and I live way up here.
That's a little better.
We're down here right now. There's the Florida Keys. Right. So when I in 2013, when I was looking for a fellowship, there was a couple dots here, like this. You know, there was just a few dots. Today, you can't even see the outline of the state.
Wow.
I think they're not red, they're blue, but you can't even see the outline of the state. And then it's all over the world, it's the same thing. When I went to Korea in 2014, I got on the fellowship finder and only found people who were at the military base that were Messianic or Hebrew roots trying to start a little fellowship. Now there's several fellowships in Korea, you know, and it's just the whole map is like the world map is like color. You know, this is a coming back. This is calling, and a lot of them have the same testimonies. I heard this through a dream. You know, I've stumbled across. I'm reading the Bible and stuff didn't make sense to me, and then, you know, boom, they started researching, right? So this is God's calling us all back, and it's the Isaiah 12, Isaiah 11:12 is calling the scattered back, right? So we got it. He's got to first put together the people. You know, he just didn't pull you out of the house and translate you to Istanbul or whatever. You know, you had to come to an understanding. It was like when I had that burden to go to North Korea and blow the shofar and pray. It was just going to be me and my wife. And if that would have happened, that would have been over and done with, you know. And I thought it was a different date and all that stuff. When it did happen, we were shocked that it happened. We were shocked that we were going to Korea. Didn't even know what date it was. Here it was Shavuot. We started Shavuot. We started Shavuot. We started the ministry out there on the lake, right? We did that ministry for 2 years before we went back to Korea. That was my training ground. So God has called us out of Babylon. And Jews as well as Christians are in Babylon too. And Muslims are in Babylon also. Big time. But we've been called out. We got this training, or we started researching and we learned all this stuff. It's not for just us. It's for for other people out there. Tell other people. I'm going to this. It's a Baptist church, and I invited the pastor over to the house. He lives around the corner from me, and I told him what my wife was doing in Korea at the time, and it was on the Feast of Trumpets. And I told him why it was significant on the Feast of Trumpets that it was happening. And I showed him the films of what was happening over in Korea, and he cried. And he says, "Rich, you're going to have to come to my church and speak about the feast days." He said, I recognize the importance of it. I recognize the importance of it. That's a loss. That's somebody that's in Babylon, crying out. And last year they had a Passover Seder. They had invited Chris. Chris set the plan of that seed. Right? Now I come in. Maybe I did remove the covering of that seed. You see? So, all right. So I hope you guys got something out of this. I hope I didn't confuse you, but we're going to sit down and have a discussion on this. All right. God bless y'all, and shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.